about the coup, are they? They're just not. They're not going to do that. Okay?
Released. While the 8 brothers were imprisoned, faithful Bible students circulated a petition calling for their release. These brave brothers and sisters gathered more than 700,000 signatures. On Wednesday, March 26, 1919, before the petition was submitted, Brother Rutherford and the other responsible brothers were released. In a speech to those who welcomed him home, Brother Rutherford said, "I am convinced that this experience we have all gone through is merely to prepare us for more strenuous times. Your fight has not been to get your brethren out of prison. That was merely a side issue. The fight you have been making has been for the purpose of witnessing for the truth, and those who have done it have received a wonderful blessing." The circumstances surrounding the trial of our brothers may give indication of Jehovah's direction. On May 14, 1919, the appeals court ruled, "The defendants in this case did not have the impartial trial to which they were entitled, and for that reason the judgment is reversed." The brothers had been convicted of serious crimes, and these judgments would have remained on their records if they had only been pardoned or if their sentences had merely been commuted. No further charges were laid. As a result, Judge Rutherford retained his legal qualifications to defend Jehovah's people before the Supreme Court of the United States, something he did many times after his release. Determined to preach. We were not going to sit around idle and twiddle our thumbs, waiting for the Lord to take us to heaven, recalled Brother Macmillan.
So remember, only the anointed go to heaven. So Brother Macmillan and these higher-uppers, the brass, believed that they were going to heaven. The poor old bottom end J-dubs, they were just going to stay on earth.
We realized we would have to do something to determine what the Lord's will really was. But the brothers at headquarters could not just resume the work that they had been doing for years. Why not? Because during their imprisonment, all the printing plates that were used to print literature had been destroyed. This was discouraging, and some brothers wondered if the preaching work was finished. Was anyone still interested in the kingdom message preached by the Bible students? To answer that question, Brother Rutherford decided to give a lecture. The public would be invited. If nobody came to that meeting, Brother Macmillan said, we were done.
Now, let's just go back. Can we find this again? No, that's not what we want. That's Barbara's thing. Hang on here. Now, here's all the information on what happened during these meetings. Now, this is the May 4th, 1919. Let's just go on a little bit.
So it was that on Sunday, May 4th, 1919, in spite of a serious illness, Brother Rutherford delivered the lecture, The Hope for Distressed Humanity, in Los Angeles, California. About 3,500 attended the lecture, and hundreds were turned away. The next day, another 1,500 attended. The brothers had their answer. People were interested.
But what they're failing to tell you is that they lost 1 in 7 people at this time. Gave it
and
away.
Hundreds were turned away. The next day, another 1,500 attended. The brothers had their answer. People were interested. What the brothers did next set the course for the preaching work of Jehovah's Witnesses down to this day.
Now let me remind you that the name Jehovah's Witnesses didn't come until 1931. The name Jehovah's Witnesses wasn't given to these people until 1931.
The Watchtower of August 1st, 1919, announced that in early September a general convention would be held at Cedar Point, Ohio. Everyone just felt they had to get there, recalled Clarence B. Beatty, a young Bible student from Missouri. More than 6,000 brothers and sisters attended that gathering, far more than were anticipated. Adding to the excitement of the occasion, more than 200 got baptized in nearby Lake Erie. On September 5, 1919, the fifth day of the convention, in his address to co-laborers, Brother Rutherford announced the publication of a new magazine entitled The Golden Age. The footnote reads, "The Golden Age was renamed Consolation in 1937 and Awake in 1946. End of footnote. It would carry the current news of importance, giving a scriptural explanation as to why these great events were transpiring. Encouraged to preach boldly with this new publication. A letter outlining how the work was to be organized stated, "Let each consecrated baptized one remember that it is a great privilege to serve and grasp the opportunity now, and have a part in giving this great witness to the world." The response was tremendous. By December, zealous kingdom publishers had obtained more than 50,000 subscriptions to the new magazine.
I found this article by John Cedars, and I think it has a lot to do with the Golden Age publications as well. I just want to read it. We may as well go all the way here. Black worshippers are now embraced as equals among Jehovah Witnesses, but it hasn't always been this way. Most Jehovah Witnesses believe that the Watchtower Society is completely beyond reproach when it comes to issues surrounding racism and racial equality. When attending a meeting, convention, or assembly of Jehovah Witnesses, one is instantly impressed at the intermingling and harmony between people of all ethical backgrounds. Watchtower publications speak of all races being equal before God, who is not partial. Generally speaking, this philosophy filters down as a positive influence on the way members of different races treat one another within our organisation. We even have a black brother, Samuel Hurd, now sitting in the governing body. However, things haven't always been this way. In fact, the road to racial harmony has been just as bumpy for our organisation as it has for many years. If you were to read some early Watchtower publications, you would doubtless be shocked and appalled by some of the offensive rhetoric employed by the writers of the Society's literature back then. Indeed, if such literature was reprinted or otherwise circulated today as representing the Society's current attitudes towards race, the organisation would likely end up facing yet more serious legal entanglements, not to mention an outcry from their many non-white members spread across the globe. Sadly, there are numerous examples of racial bigotry in the Society's early literature, and a few non-white races escape unscathed. I will attempt to catalogue some of the more offensive quotes in this article. For brevity, I will present a timeline of the racist expressions as published by the Society, followed by a more thorough analysis of each quoted in text in the date. So here's some racial quotes, and then John goes on to talk about other things. I want something from the Golden Age. Can we get something from the Golden Age? These are all Zion Watchtower. The Golden Age. Here we go. On the psychological effects of alcohol and school books leave but one answer. For mentally, morally and physically, the total abstainer always has the best of every user of alcohol. From a criminal viewpoint, the desirability of sobering the Southern Negroes speaks volumes for national prohibition. From an economic point of view, efficiency, men are quite unanimous on preferring the non-drinker. The voice of science concurs that the drug alcohol should be placed with other habit-forming drugs beyond the pub. So what they're saying is no black drunks in the picture. Let's see what John says. To provide some background, the article above was written rather controversially by today's standards. It's a political argument against the recently introduced prohibition laws. As many of you know, prohibition became law in America in 1920, making the sale of alcoholic beverages illegal. Rutherford was known to be partial to his liquor, and I would not be surprised if he was the actual writer of the above article. After all, as a lover of alcohol, he had a vested interest in stalling the prohibition movement, and I can think of no other reason the society would feel the need to dabble in the politics of that time other than this issue. If Rutherford actually wrote this article, it would certainly provide a unique insight into his racial views. The insinuation that all Southern Negroes are drunkards in a vicious racial slur, and the above sentiments would cause outrage if repeated in the society such today. It seems that whereas Russell had been more of a spiritual racist who tried to justify his views using biblically orientated arguments, Rutherford offered little or no justification for his racial views whatsoever, apart from spewing forth scathing and hopelessly erroneous generalizations based on his own perceptions. Rutherford, who enjoyed his liquor, spoke of sobering Southern Negroes in an article, and so on and so forth. and so what we see is the flaws in that publication, okay? And these people are making out it was wonderful. Oh my God.
End of 1919, Jehovah's people were reorganized and energized. Additionally, several important prophecies involving the last days had been fulfilled. The testing and refinement of God's people, foretold at Malachi 3, 1-4, was complete.
Let's have a quick look at Malachi 3. Look, I am sending my messenger, and he will clear up a way before you. This is talking about John the Baptist. We know that from the scriptures. And suddenly the true Lord, whom you are seeking, will come to his temple. That's the Lord Jesus Christ and his work. And the messenger of the covenant will come, in whom you take delight. Look, he will certainly come, says the Lord, says Jehovah of armies. But who will endure this day of his coming, and who will be able to stand when he appears? For he will be like the fire of a refiner and like the lie of laundrymen. And he will sit as a refiner and cleanser of silver, and will cleanse the sons of Levi, and he will clarify them like gold and like silver, and they will certainly become to Jehovah people presenting a gift offering in righteousness. And the gift offering of Judah and of Jerusalem will actually be pleasing to Jehovah, as in the days of long ago and as in the years of antiquity. Well, they're contributing to themselves, the Jehovah Witnesses here, something that's got absolutely nothing to do with them at all. Okay, so let's finish this off.
The captivity to Babylon the Great, and Jesus had appointed the faithful and discreet slave. Revelation 18.
I want to play that again. What are they talking about here?
2-4, and Matthew 24:45. Now, the Bible students were ready for the work that Jehovah had in store for them.
So what's this?
End of article.
Right. Jehovah's people had been released from their symbolic captivity. This is talking about the Jews, but they're calling it a symbolic thing that would happen to Jehovah's Witnesses. And Jesus had appointed the faithful and discreet slave. When? When? This must be an article on all that. Well, I don't want to take this any further, to be honest. The corruption that took place in the coup of Judge Rutherford, and they can justify it and all that sort of thing, but no, it was terrible. Terrible events, and there he is. So that's my take on it all. You take it or leave it. But very interesting scenes for the Jehovah's Witnesses back then. If I was them, I wouldn't be printing any of this. I'd just be putting it behind me and leaving it where it is. But they're so stupid in what they do. Well, hope you enjoyed it. This is Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, New South Wales, Australia. Bye for now. Yeah, Dr. Jason Morrison, theologist again. I just want to say thank you for watching the videos, and I hope you got plenty of self-rediscovery and freedom out of it. If you watched it on YouTube, please share or like, maybe even comment. If you watched it on Facebook, like, comment, share. But most of all, get out and live. This isn't a rehearsal. You've got a one-off life. Don't let your loyalty and your faithfulness blind you to the life that you should be experiencing. Till the next video, thank you for watching, and bye for now.